Hey, welcome. It's Meredith. I am here with a message for Mercury retrograde. I felt guided to tune into the retrograde a little bit more this time around. We all hear the cliches about Mercury retrograde and how everything appears to move backward. Communication can be challenging, technical issues can crop up, and that feels limiting to me. The sense of Mercury retrograde for me is one of an opportunity to reflect, to relax, to take a look at our, gaze into our hindsight and make the most of it. So this Mercury retrograde, we will be tuning in for how we can make the most of it. What does the tarot have to say about it? I also felt guided to check out what's going on in space weather. This is a conversation that's come around a little bit more frequently for me in my world. And as I was preparing, I will share with you ever so briefly, I had intended to use the After Tarot for the Mercury retrograde reading. And I went to the shelf that it sits on and pulled the deck off the shelf and realized that instead I got the vice versa tarot, not After Tarot, which then made a whole lot more sense to me because we can visit both ends of a spectrum during Mercury retrograde. So these cards are double-sided. So we can see both sides of whatever situation is unfolding in the energy atmosphere of Mercury retrograde. So there's that. And then, as I mentioned, I felt guided to tune into what's going on in space weather because consider how all the other planets align and all of their cosmic dust within their alignment. All of that falls to us, crosses our path here on Earth. And so as I was poking around there on that website, I noticed that on the 7th of May, that was Saturday, I believe, the sun had, oh goodness, I think it was called a magnetic filament. I'm not really even sure what that means. You can check it out on spaceweather.com, though it has set off what's referred to as a coronal mass ejection. That's a solar flare. And that energy is coming toward Earth today. It, as it is written there, may create a glancing blow here on Earth, which means that Earth's electromagnetic field is going to be charged by that solar flare. So I decided to pull cards for the solar flare as well, since it's coinciding with Mercury retrograde. How are we going to be potentially influenced by these energies? Now, to get started, we're going to kick off with, and this was intended to be a short reading, and that remains the intention. We'll see where we go, because the shuffle was quite interesting, at least on the solar flare side of it. I felt guided additionally to pull a card from a deck I have that's just major arcana. So what energy out of the major arcana is in support of us today? What energy is wise for us to turn to? And we have here the High Priestess. Excellent. Ooh. So be prepared for your intuitive gifts, however they present, whatever they may be, to feel a bit like a struck tuning fork. The vibration and the frequency of your intuitive gifts may feel multiplied today, expanded. So enjoy the expanded awareness. We're going to move over to the Mercury retrograde side of the reading, and our first card out is the Eight of Swords. You know this one is potentially a mental trap, and I feel a connection to yesterday's daily reading and talking about programming and challenging our programming. And what I sense here is, when I look at the Eight of Swords today, eights, as you know, are all about movement. We'll look at the other side of the card too. Nice. What I sense here on this card today is, as always, we have the power to free ourselves. This is a card that often has us considering someone else coming to our aid. And we're under our own power here. We can set ourselves free off the Eight of Swords, whatever the mental trap might be. You know, we did see the devil in yesterday's reading as well. So, you know, what thoughts are keeping us trapped or held captive in some way within our own selves, and how can we set that energy free for ourselves within our sphere of influence? So I love the bird connection here on the card as well. The other thing I feel is she's got this sword at her back, and while her hands or her arms are bound here, this sword is not out of reach. She really can cut the entanglement away. My overall feeling on the card is, and it's quite interesting to have the High Priestess here too, if we're blindfolded, if there's something we're not seeing, that's one of our senses kind of shut down, right? Though that means that our other senses have the potential to be heightened. So if you're a clairvoyant style intuitive, if you're someone who sees things in your mind's eye, you have visions, what are your other clairs telling you? What's your clairsentience? What's your clairaudience, right? What are you feeling? What are you hearing intuitively? So your other senses may be, your other intuitive senses may be heightened today. Our next card here is the Knight of Swords. I just love him. And when you flip his card, while you have a darker background, you still have this knight charging. So where are we going with the energy? My sense of it is that whatever we are receiving, High Priestess, out of our intuitive downloads for the day, we are meant to take action on them. That might sound counterintuitive to so many people when we consider Mercury retrograde, because so often we hear, don't sign things, you know, reconsider taking any kind of action, though I feel a whole lot of action going on here. Heightened intuitive awareness, setting ourselves free in our thoughts, considering how we may do things differently. And then the Knight of Swords, and again, no matter what position you put him in, he's in motion, he's going for it, he is assertively moving ahead. Our next two cards came out together, and we have the Six of Swords, more momentum and harmonized momentum even. Let's flip the card and look at that. Look, she is actually holding the Ace of Cups. That's good. I love it. So we're setting ourselves free with an energy. We're setting ourselves free in the way that we think and how we take action on it. Mercury retrograde is no hindrance to that. We've got a clear message of paying attention to our heightened awarenesses at this time, and a recognition that our intuitive blessings may be heightened in a different way. So if we are accustomed to seeing, our clairvoyance may not be as sharp as all of our other intuitive gifts. So consider that. And then the card that came with the Six of Swords is the Two of Wands. Look at this. More encouragement to go forward. And there's that character on the card stepping through the portal to a whole new world of opportunity without hesitation, knowing that every step forward right now is a step forward in the direction of fulfilling our goal, our intention, what we hold in heart space, and what's on our horizon. So flipping the card, yeah, that's beautiful. See the lit, that to me looks like a setting and or a rising sun, and see how that sun is illuminating this person's whole being. Now, we did see the sun in yesterday's reading. It came out twice. And we have the sun illuminating our subconscious. And it's from here that our inspiration is rising to move in the direction of our goals and our dreams. Beautiful, beautiful message. Okay, now to the potential effect of a solar flare. These cards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them fell out together. So we'll take those and we'll go over them. So this is what we may anticipate from the electromagnetic charge from the solar flare. And we have the King of Swords, decision-making, choice, masterful choice. And I also feel that beautifully connected to paying attention to our intuition. So we're taking action on our intuition, our intuitive guidance in a very wise and masterful way today. And our next card is the Knight of Cups. So we have the King sending the Knight on a mission with the Ace of Cups, much like we have the Ace of Cups over here on the Six of Swords. You know, we're moving ahead with what's in heart space. The Six of Swords on the retrograde side of the reading is really a card about moving from unfavorable circumstances to much more favorable circumstances. And doesn't it pair so nicely with this Two of Wands? You know, moving into that nice, beautifully sunlit horizon. So here we have the King of Swords saying, go ahead, take your Ace of Cups and go forward. The next card, oh, it's another Knight. Look at this. The Knight of Swords. Go forward decisively. This speaks to assertive energy for me, because we have the Knight of Cups carrying the Ace of Cups. We have the Knight of Swords twice now in the reading carrying the Ace of Swords. So we have brilliant clarity, we have enduring strength, and a powerful desire to move our energy forward in consideration of our own heart space. Ace of Cups. Where does this now go? Into the Page of Wands. And look at that. Oh my gosh, look at that card. That's like pulling lightning from the sky, or perhaps even pulling that magnetically charged energy from the solar flare into the here and now to give energy to what we hold in heart space. So that is the Page of Wands. Yeah, it's inspiration, it's passion, it's creativity. This is a great big yes all over the reading of, if you're asking the question, is this a favorable time to move forward with this or that energy or this or that experience? This is a resounding and assertive yes. And then the final card in that set of 5 is beautiful. Look at that, Three of Wands. So we move from the Two of Wands to the Three of Wands. This is a day of good progression in the direction of what we hold in heart space. My feeling here is our recent daily readings have shown us a lot of the Nine of Cups, fulfillment overflowing into our world. And this is us taking action on and with that fulfillment. And the universe is supporting it. Okay, the next two cards also came out together, and we have, that's fantastic. We have the Eight of Swords showing up again. Look at this card though. Look at her wings. There's an owl behind her. She's carrying a sword. So let's grab this one out of Vice Versa Tarot. And look, we have the sword at her back. We have a bird in flight. We have a bird in flight here. Her angelic wings are out. This is us setting something free for sure. There's no entrapment, no entanglement on this particular Eight of Swords. So here again, eights are motion, momentum, movement in tarot. And we have cut away or removed any kind of entanglement as we step forward through the portal of the Two of Wands into the promise of the Three of Wands, which is I've put down roots, things are growing, things are becoming, I'm living the dreams and the fulfillment off the Nine of Cups type of energy that we've seen so much recently. And then we have, oh my goodness, look at that. Four of Wands, happiest card in the minor arcana of tarot. So as I said moments ago, it's a resounding yes in terms of your queries and questions about how to move forward. My feeling here is that the life lessons, life experience gleaned along the way is cycling back on us to support the now moment as we move forward in the direction of fulfillment. There's no caution here. There's no cautionary flag waving in the breeze. And just because it is Mercury retrograde doesn't mean that you're meant to be at a standstill with things. As a matter of fact, it appears as though we are meant to draw deeply on our very expanded intuitive gifts and channel that, funnel those gifts into what's on offer to us, and take a step forward with all of this beautiful energy. Leave some comments, folks. Let us know how this is working out for you. It's very inspiring to all of us to read those comments. Have a beautiful day. Happy first day of Mercury retrograde. Peace, love, namaste.